Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies for that. I didn't realize nobody was hearing me. I guess you can hear me right now. Again, I have said, we will keep on asking that question. We will keep on asking that question. Who owns the land? Who owns the land? And the answer is not ours to give. The answer is that of La République du Cameroon. And of course, the United Nations, the international community. The answer is theirs to give because we know who owns our land, who owns our territory. Ambazonia belongs to Ambazonians, that we know. But until we get to Boya, until Boya is delivered to us, we will continue to ask that question until the day La République du Cameroon completely withdraw from our territory and the United Nations formally acknowledge, recognize Ambazonia as a country on its own. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here once more, and I want to welcome all of you on ground zero, in the diaspora, in the continental USA, plus Canada, and of course South America, where I have learned we have lots and lots of Ambazonians in Brazil, and lots of Ambazonian refugees in Mexico City in Mexico. I'd like to welcome all of you to this very, very exciting broadcast. Please, I'm going to do a number of things. First, I will bring to you a few announcements, and after that, we will dive into this discussion proper. I have with me very, very exciting personalities that you will always, at any time, love to hear from them. We shall be discussing French Cameroon forced elections upon our territory. And of course, we shall also be talking about Mr. Campos Maurice rally, or I should call it, I don't know what I should call it, a rally or whatever name I should give to it. But that meeting is coming up February 9 in Washington, D.C. And it is important to talk about that because I see some crafty, manipulative way in which they are trying to get Ambazonians to show up for that meeting. We will talk about that. We'll come to that. And then if there is enough time, I will open the phone lines and take a few calls, most especially from those of you on ground zero. So again, it's my pleasure to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you on the social media platform, especially on Facebook, please, 5 minutes, in 5 minutes, give me at least 700 people to start this broadcast. We are almost 400 already. So please, the next 5 minutes, while I bring to you these few updates and announcements, I need you to hit your share button. Hit your share button and give me and my guests at least 700 people here on Amber ABC Facebook page. And before I go on to bring you the some announcements, updates, let me formally welcome my guests here who are joining me from the bottom right. I have Barrister Valentine Ghana. Next to him is a face that you know so very well, the one and only Barrister Insert John. On the top right, you have Dr. Emma Osong. And of course, right beside her is the one and only in Tumfoin, Bo Herbert. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the set. Can you say a word or two to the audience before I withdraw your images and take some few announcements, please? Barrister Ghana, go ahead, please. I'm sorry, Barrister Ghana, we have to turn on your audio. One moment. Let your audio be switched on, please. Yes, go ahead, Barrister Ghana. I think they can hear you now.
Yes, can you hear me well now?
5 on 5.
Okay, just that is an honor to be here serving our people and charting our destiny. And part of that is hindering these fraudulent elections from taking place. And as we started from the get-go, we are on full pedal straight towards reaffirming our independence.
Thank you, and you are welcome to the broadcast, sir. Barrister John, it's your turn, sir.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Thank you. I am very happy to be here to be talking to our people who are undergoing all kinds of trouble as we speak. Our people, more especially in Paco, where they are being arrested in large numbers and taken. Some are being executed. Some are being tortured. Some are being. They are taking 20,000 from each one of them before releasing them. I bring them revolutionary greetings and say we shall overcome. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, thank you. Dr. Osong, please say a word to our people before we get back to you.
Thank you, Secretary Chris, for the privilege to communicate on this platform. I want to thank all that are joining us today and start off by saying that I extend my prayers to all who have lost family members in this war. Do not relent. Amazonians are peaceful, principled, pragmatic people, and that our quest for freedom is one that we shall not give up on. We were born free and we will die free. And I want to start this conversation by saying that justice is our expectation. Peace are the ingredients that make a peaceful, justice rather, is the prerequisite for a peaceful people, a peaceful nation, peaceful neighbors. So I want to welcome all those who are listening to us around the world and look forward to speaking with you on this very important platform.
Thank you, Dr. Emma Ntumfoin. Please say a word or two to our people before we get into the discussion, please.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chris. Revolutionary greetings to all our people on Ground Zero, to our people in the dungeons of La Republique, to our people in the jails and refugee camps on Ground One and other countries. Greetings to all of you. You go through tough times, but it says even in the Holy Book that it is through tough times that the best emerge. You are the very best. Keep doing what you're doing. Welcome to my co-panelists, and thank you for being here. Thank you for the work you do, and thank you, Secretary Chris, for the work you do.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please, for those of you watching from on Facebook, please go ahead, hit your share button. The moment you give me 700 people in the next 3 minutes, I guess we have over 500 right now. In the next 3 minutes, I need you to populate this Facebook platform with at least 700 people. Now, this is very, very important. Lockdown begins tomorrow, midnight, actually midnight tonight on Ground Zero. And I can never emphasize on the importance and the urgency for this lockdown. Fellow Ambazonians, last night I told you that there are a number of things that will happen if we lost this conflict to La République du Cameroon. And this is why we have organized this lockdown, and we are asking you on Ground Zero to stay away from French Cameroon organized elections. Lockdown starts tomorrow. We expect our borders with French Cameroon to be shut down. We expect all transportation to be shut down, except for emergency health workers who must be at their places of duty. So please, everywhere, we expect everywhere on Amazonia to be dead, Now, we have learned of so many arrests and confiscation of ID cards from Amazonians. Yesterday, I also indicated that do not afford or attempt to go to their station, to their barracks, to regain your ID card. Do not attempt to do so, because you step out, they will force you to vote. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, our future, our destiny is better than a piece of paper, so-called ID cards. So if your ID card has been confiscated from you, forget about it. If you go there after the election to withdraw it and they refuse to give it back to you, go and renew it. Go and get a different one. Now, I said yesterday, and I like my panel to listen to this because I would like to hear what you think about this. I said yesterday that let us consider or make this, not consider, let me use the right terminology here. Let us make this election, French Cameroon election, another referendum on that country. Since 2017, when we declared our restoration, La République du Cameroon keeps on coming back, trying us to see how serious that we are. They have conducted, first of all, they brought their 20th May, their 11th February, they brought their elections, presidential elections. They tried bringing the African Cup of Nations, and we all, like one man, collectively, we said no to all these things. But they keep on trying. This time, they're bringing back another election, and this time they want to do everything to force it upon our people to make sure that people go out and vote. But this is very, very critical, ladies and gentlemen. This is what will happen if the international community sees Ambazonia as going out to participate in French Cameroon election. Number one, again, that will be the end of Ambazonia, the end of the Southern Cameroons. The map of Ambazonia would have been over. The stones that mark our international boundaries with French Cameroon after this conflict would be taken, will be decimated. They will never again exist. And I can assure you, Bamenda will become a town in their western region. Boya will become a town in the littoral region. The northern zone will be governed from the western region. And of course, the southern zone will also be governed from the littoral region. Ladies and gentlemen, we will never ever be able to raise our voice again in that damn country if we lost this conflict. That is what lies ahead. That is what lies ahead, and which is why we are saying to every Ambazonian, we've got to stay away from this election. Many of your brothers in the diaspora may never come home again because, if we lost this conflict. The international community is watching. Donald Trump is watching. They want to see how resolved that we are. And this is the moment we tell the United Nations, the USA, the Canadians, the Swiss, the British, the Germans, the European Union, the Commonwealth, the EU. This is the time we take our resolve to them and let them know we meant it when on October 1st, 2017, we said bye-bye to La République du Cameroon. And so, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, lock your homes, stay in. Do not attempt to go out to be shot at by the invading troops from La République du Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 50 more people to go until I bring you my guests for this broadcast. So please, if you are just joining on Facebook, go ahead and hit your share button. Let's get this platform thickly populated today. So please, if you are joining, go ahead and hit your share button. Let us populate this social media platform. I want to again formally welcome all of you watching by way of satellite on ground zero in all of sub-Saharan Africa. And I'd like to also make this announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a business out there, you have a business out there, especially those of you in the diaspora. If you have a business out there and you are looking for a way to publicize or advertise your business, I want to invite you to consider consulting with ABC to advertise your business. I believe as you do, you wouldn't only be supporting or growing your business, you would by so doing be supporting the revolution. ABC is beginning to take advertisement. Maybe this is the season of graduation. It will soon be here. The season of graduation will soon be here. Some people are conducting marriages. Some are doing their cultural conventions. ABC can carry your convention live. And also your graduation parties, we can zoom it live to ground zero. Just imagine you sitting there celebrating your graduation party or your cultural convention, and your parents on ground zero are seated there watching you live. So please, if you are planning any of such events, please contact ABC. Contact ABC for promotional purposes. And of course, if you have a business, want to start a business, please, we can do fabulous promotion advertisement for you. And before I take you to my guest, we have hit the number already. Let me make one more announcement. I want to remind all of you out there, please, we are still accepting registration subscriptions for ABC Amber Club. So if you have not yet registered, please do so. And of course, remember your CID, compulsory independence due. The website is running effectively now. Many people continue to register. Let us form the war. Let us form the war. And not only that, please recognize, look for your county, join your county, your local government. Let us fund our counties and fund our local governments and get this war to the expected destination. Boya is not far from us, but we have to keep on giving and giving and giving and giving until we arrive, Boya. Ladies and gentlemen, again, it's a privilege to be here tonight, and I have a very, very special line-up with me. I have a very special guest lined up with me, and as you heard, we are going to discuss these elections, and we are also going to touch on the Canto event that is coming up in Washington, D.C., February the 9th. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you here. As you all know, these elections is a do or die issue with us, all of us, Ambazonians. We can never emphasize the importance of it enough. And I just want each of you, starting with Barrister John, please tell Ambazonians why it is necessary to stay away from this election. Barrister John.
Thank you, Chris. My dear compatriots of Amazonia, tonight at 12 midnight is the beginning of the D-Day. From 12 midnight right down to 12 midnight on the 11th, we are in a lockdown to boycott the so-called La Republic elections. They have no place in our territory. They have no place in our country. It is very important that we stay home. Every one of you, I hope you are listening to Barrister Fru, because I don't miss my words. Because if something happens, don't say we didn't tell you. Our restoration forces will be everywhere 24/7 for the next 6 days. Please, for your own safety and for the safety of the family and for the safety of Amazonians, we don't want to lose any of our own, because we want everybody to get with us to Boya. Stay home. Stay home, because all electioneering, wherever they are, will be a legitimate target for the restoration forces. Therefore, if you are caught in the crossfire, you have only yourself to blame. Please, I repeat myself, stay home. This is a referendum against La Republique of Cameroon. We have to show them that we are a people, that this is our country. We stayed and they came and met us and created this havoc that we are going through. We have to show them that we are a separate country since 1st of October 2017. We have always been a separate country in part of the illegality that started taking place in 1961. But we reaffirmed our sovereignty on the 1st of October 2017. Therefore, nobody, no other country has a right to organize elections on our territory, on our country. We will make sure that those elections don't take place. We know what has already happened. Before I came on, I saw a very long list from most of our counties of candidates, CPDM candidates. Listen, whether they are old list or new list, we don't want to know. If you are on that list and you are declared a winner, you better just make sure that you're out of our territory.
Okay, Barrister John, we will get there. We will get there. I will really love short answers from you so that we can
Thank
cover.
You, sir. So I am saying that our people should stay home and avoid any calamity that may arise.
All right, thank you, Dr. Emma. Again, this is a do or die election for Ambazonians. What is your opinion? I mean, what would you want to say to every Ambazonian out there who is thinking maybe I should go out and vote, or maybe because they have confiscated my ID card, I should go there and get it and possibly vote so to get it back? What would you say to them, please?
Thank you, Secretary Chris. I'd like to give them 3 words: G, S, and L. The G is genocide, the L is legitimacy, and the R is referendum. If you remember nothing else, why this show is important, remember that we are people that have suffered all types of atrocity crimes that are now certifiable genocidal crimes. Remember that your vote essentially legitimizes and seals forever the newfound decorative name for a free people called special status. The third reason, and if I may be brief, is your voting by going out seals your faith. Therefore, staying home, you essentially have forever told La République du Cameroun that they do not hold sway over you born free Ambazonians. So again, very briefly, G for genocide. We have and are a people who are suffering all types of crimes of atrocity. We need not go over the dire statistics, my brothers and sisters. It sounds like a litany of sorrow, one that we must sing. The thousands, 12,000s and pushing. Since declaring and reclaiming our independence October 1st, what has happened since? They deployed troops into southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. Since the 2018 election, presidential election, we stayed home. That was a solid, resounding boycott that said, we reject and we are not to again be subjected under the rule of the French colonial dominated government in Yaoundé. Since 2018 or 2019, what has happened? Additional troops have been deployed, and the atrocity crimes against us has only gotten worse. Now, I want to ask my brothers and sisters listening out there, if this is not a ploy, what can it else be? If we rejected the head, why would we accept the body of the fish? If we said the head of the is rotten, we want nothing to do with it. Why would you then accept the body of the fish? I mean, these are not laughing matters, but let me conclude this short piece by saying this election is a ploy to forever enslave us permanently and solidly in the eyes of the international community as a one and an indivisible. But we know we are not one and indivisible. We can go through that history, but we won't belabel that point. Why? Because there is a country called the Republic of Cameroon, which attained independence in 1960, January 1, pursuant to UNGA 1476 or 1474, and was admitted as an independent sovereign nation with its own borders. Today, as a free people who achieved and should enjoy the same privileges as a sovereign nation, pursuant again to that big book that UN says is UN General whatever 1608, we are saying we must live as free people in our own country. So I want to say that you're going out three things: to vote legitimizes the government in Yaoundé, and you are accepting your new name, NOSO, special status. Number two, your vote is to say that you endorse Bia's genocide on us. If you vote, you are telling the world that life is normal in southern Cameroon in spite of all the death, destruction, and our brothers and sisters languishing. So you must stay home to send clear, resounding message, as you have heard on this platform, a referendum that we must get to a negotiated settlement under what the world has prescribed for us as the framework for bringing just, lasting, permanent peace under the Swiss-led peace initiative. So I want to plead on all of you hearing my voice today. You don't know me, and you believe it's easy to step out and play the football, but I stand in solidarity to say, this is a ploy. We should send a clear message that unless we can live free, we will die.
All
fighting.
right. Thank you. Thank you for that word. Into point, let me come to you now. What message? You are not just Intum Foreign Bohebet, you are also the leader, one of the frontline leaders in this struggle. What message would you give to Ambazonians on ground zero concerning this election, please?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Your video is frozen, but I think we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you very well. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you 5 on 5. Please go on.
Okay, thank you very much, Secretary Chris. I'm going to take a slightly different position here, and it is the following. La République du Cameroun expects us to have a lockdown. They have that planned for. They have that factored into their plan. They expected us to boycott elections. They have that also factored in. And because of that, they have a game plan they want to roll out. And we're beginning to see the first parts of it. That game plan they call find and delete. The purpose is allow them sufficient access to get to restoration forces wherever camps are to be found. And so our people cannot approach a gunfight with a knife. Our people need to take these things into account. And so therefore, our traditional lockdown, we have said this for weeks now, cannot be the traditional lockdown. Ambassador Cohen famously said our people were not angry enough. Now we need to show sufficient anger by getting the world to understand that our people are totally behind this process. And so we've advocated what we call a lockdown plus plus. Do not allow the restoration forces alone to be the ones enforcing this lockdown.
You are very correct.
It happened.
You are very correct. I made that emphasis
already in 1992. We want every Ambazonian to participate in setting up the barricades and in making sure that those barricades are in their hundreds of thousands. Make sure that you go out under the cover of darkness and reinstate your barricades if they were ever moved. Do not allow them free movement in our territory. Do not allow them to bring supplies. Do not allow them to call backup. Shut the whole place down. That is point number one. But point number two, Mr. Biya walks away with an election result that he already has right now. Mr. Biya really doesn't need a referendum. He doesn't need an election. He can publish the results right now because he's just going to cook them up. And so we have advocated for our people and in the interest of our revolution that our people should show that there is a choice between Mr. Biya and our independence, and we have rejected his choice. We have told our people, organize in small groups, in compounds, in your family, cast a stone, count your stones, put those results out. It should be clear that while our people sat in the bush, while they sat wherever they sat, they consolidated around the ideas of independence. But please, this is the moment for our people to become the forest that protects our Amber Boys and Restoration Forces. They have been there for you. This is the moment for you to have those barricades in place. And I give you one example. In 1992, to shut down the state of emergency, our people did precisely that. They felled trees in Bamenda. They rolled out planks with spikes with nails on them to prevent circulation. They put wasted oil on slopes to prevent cars from rolling. And they were present to make sure that nothing happens. Do not make this about Amber Boys versus La République. That is a game they want because that is a military game they are bound to win. Our people must be the ones that prevent this from happening, and we must send that message to the world.
That's a very, very strong message, and I love that. Barrister Valentine, many people's IDs have been confiscated, and they are under intimidation to only go there on Sunday the 9th to regain those ID cards. And the trick there is to have them come over there, vote, before they are allowed to go. What is your advice to those whose ID cards have been confiscated?
Secretary Chris, thanks for the question. This attempt to fraud our people's will through an election stinks up to the high heavens, because we live in an international world, or a world that is internationalized. And there are elements of a proper election that are widely known. When you have government troops and death squads go about arresting people, confiscating their IDs, they've already annulled the validity of the election. And as my comrades, Tumfoin, Bohebet, Barrister Fru, and Dr. Osong have soundly articulated, we are not part of La République. There are no instruments that tie Ambazonia, aka the former British Trust Territory, to La République. International norms and elements that validate elections, first of all, you have to have a constitution in that territorial area you're talking about, where the electoral laws are consistent with the constitution of that area. there is no legitimate constitution that ties Ambazonia to La République. So this election is null and void. And if we wanted to extend that a little bit, let's talk about some of the elements of a valid election. The prerequisites include freedom of movement. Does that exist? No, it does not exist in Ambazonia. Freedom of speech and association. Does that exist? No, it does not exist. Freedom of assembly. Does that exist in Ambazonia? No, it does not exist. Freedom of being able to go out and vote free of intimidation and coercion. Does that exist? No, they do not exist. So there is no legal authority that ties Ambazonia with La République. These civil liberties or elements that are prerequisites for a valid election do not exist. And so what La République is trying to project in Ambazonia is that it's just trying to project brute force. It's trying to project power.
So what do you say to the electorate whose ID cards have been confiscated and they want them to show up on Sunday morning the 9th, vote, and then collect those ID cards? What do you say to them?
I would say don't go. Don't show up, because people who show up to police stations, a lot of them get killed. So when you show up to collect those cards, the chances are high that you will end up as a corpse, and we don't want our people ending up as corpses. And as Barrister Fu said, shut your doors, lock yourself down, because they are, apart from the fact that they are luring people to their death camps by seizing their ID cards, they are going to be Betty Bulu death squads roaming around Ambazonia looking for people to kill, as we've seen in the past. So the smartest thing and the wise thing for our people to do is to adhere to the shutdown and lock themselves indoors from the 6th to the 11th.
Thank you. Barrister John, let me come back to you. This is some information that is coming from Ground Zero, and we have lots of it. This one says, in Moliko Boya, soldiers went house to house, arresting people and forcing them to vote today, Wednesday, February the 5th. The same happened in Moyoka. Of course, we have seen those photographs coming out of Moyoka yesterday. Many of these people are already behind bars. We understand that the detention centers in Boya and Bamenda are full of people who have been picked up and dumped there, so on Sunday they can go out and vote. We have also seen today images of prisoners being transported from Yaoundé to our territory to vote. What would you say? What is your take on all of this intimidation and harassment?
My take is that, like Bo Herbert just said, La République has the results already, and they are trying to make sure that they get some of our people to validate those results. Listen, Chris, before I came here, last night and this morning, I had very sad news coming to me from Boya. Boya, Monya, Ekona, Muyuka, Ekata, and all the adjoining villages. La République has rounded young people and anybody they can find, young and old, and carry them to detention centers in Boya, to the gendarmerie, to the police, and to a hidden military camp that is unidentified behind the Synod office. Chris, you will not believe what is happening. Those who have been detained at the police and the gendarmerie have been given, they've asked them to pay 20,000 and go away, leaving their identity card. A lot of them have done that, and they are being released on the basis of 20,000. But those who have been taken by the military are being systematically executed, and the body is being packed in a room in that building behind the Synod office where the military torture squad is being housed. And the person, the journalist who sent that information out I said, if you want to doubt, go to the Synod office and climb that wall and listen and look down. You will see what he is saying. What am I saying, Chris? I'm saying that La Republic is committing very serious genocidal crimes as we speak. Beginning yesterday, they have rounded our people, and they are going to use that to compile results, and they are also killing our people, executing our young people. And I hope the population in Boya is listening to me. What is happening in Boya behind the Synod office, that building behind the Synod office, it's very sad for any of us to imagine. At any rate, the question you are asking me, you should know that La Republic has those results already. That is not important to me because the international community is watching. They are watching very carefully. There are satellite images everywhere. We know that the results will be published. That will be fake. But let me agree and disagree with my dear brother Robert. I agree with him that we should set up barricades in the middle of the night and disappear and go home. But what I don't agree is this question of counting stones and publishing results. Please, we have given this our people a lot to do. They have a lot to do within these 6 days, and they have a lot to do by staying away by trying to stay safe. And we cannot mix that with a very uncalled for and illegal election taking place in our territory. Maybe that will come after this incident. But for now, we are fighting this election. It is a referendum against La Republic of Cameroon. We want the world to know that La Republic of Cameroon cannot organize elections in our territory. Therefore, my brother Paul, I agree with you that we should set up barricades in the middle of the night and disappear home. And if those barricades are scattered during the day, the following night, if it is safe, don't go out and be killed because you are setting up barricades. If it is safe, you go back and put it back. We have done that before and it succeeded. But now that the military is there with guns everywhere, it may also be very risky. But at any rate, we should attempt to do that, but to count stones.
All right. Before I get back to Bo to respond to that, before I get to Dr. Emma, I have that story here that you just quoted, and let me read it. Let people hear. This person, the author writes, I bring very bad news from Boya. Hundreds of boys have been rounded up from Moyoka, from Ekona, from Ekata, Munya, Boya town, all the neighboring villages, and distributed at the Central Police Station, Boya, Gendarmerie Legion, military barracks, behind Synod office. The stock at the Gendarmerie and police have a chance of going home after paying between 20 and 50,000 francs ransom. Why those at the military torture center behind the Synod office are being executed systematically between Sunday and today, which is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Between Sunday and today, more than 100 boys have been shot point blank. I hope Ambazonians are listening to this. More than 100 boys have been shot point blank, some tortured to death, some bludgeoned with heavy metallic rods. The executioners are enjoying it and taking their time. They are not even worried about hiding their work anymore. There is a huge pile of corpses. I hope we are hearing this. There is a huge pile of corpses on cartons or in cartons in one of the rooms. Can somebody even imagine this? A huge pile of corpses in one of the rooms. And it says, anyone who doubts this story can go to the upper part of the synod office compound, climb the fence and listen. Climb the fence and listen. You will hear the screams of their victims and sounds of gunfire. This is only genocide. This is extermination in progress. Extermination in progress. Into point, the question that lots of people will be asking out there now is, as leaders of the struggle, leaders of the revolution, what should we be doing at this moment, hearing gory stories like this one? Into point, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. And let me come back to a point here. When a government or a regime like Mr. Bia's has a problem they believe they have by way of problem, and they think a military solution is how they are going to solve it, they create a state of emergency, or they create a state of exception. A lockdown is a state of exception if we do it by going home. I want the people of Ambazonia to remember, you cannot go back home. You cannot create the safe passage for them, because if you do, they will come for you. The way that we are going to defend ourselves and defend our people and defend our land is by everyone realizing that they are the next person to be taken out. This is not about restoration forces. This is the moment for the people of Ambazonia to stand up. And I'm not saying just stand up empty-handed. If they know that they are going to come for you and the only thing you have is to throw your hands in the air, then they are encouraged to do so. You must protect yourself and defend yourself, but you have to be 24-hour vigilant on your post. We cannot go to sleep. We cannot lock ourselves up. This is not the time. Imagine right now that there is no lockdown, but they are able to go house to house and round up people. If you barricade yourself, they will kick in the door, they will drag you out. That is what Hitler did. That is what Mr. Bia, that is the playbook that Mr. Bia is playing by. And the only answer to people like Mr. Bia is violence that allows you to defend yourself. The people of Ambazonia must factor this in. Mr. Bia is in Ambazonia on a mission that's called Find and Delete. They are the ones that set it up. They have established in a very cynical manner what they call an escadron de la mort, exactly in the names of the Interamwe in Rwanda. And they are out in Ambazonia hunting down people and killing them. I say one last thing, and there are two lawyers on this panel. So I will be the, let me talk softly here because I may be walking on territory that I don't know. But when an election is over, the people of the world will want to find out what was the percentage participation. And you know that Mr. Bia is going to tell the world that yes, it was boycotted in Ambazonia. But you know, 75% of the population is in the French-speaking part and the participation was very high. You know, that's what he's going to tell the world. That's what he's going to use to say that the election was credible. Our process of delegitimizing Mr. Bia's election is to demonstrate that our people took a choice that is contrary to his choice. A boycott is a vote. It is like staying home. So I ask our people, make sure that you have your own vote for referendum on independence, on reaffirming our independence, on denying anybody who is elected under these sham elections to ever represent you, and reaffirm your support for negotiations without preconditions under the auspices of the Swiss government. Do not allow Mr. Bia to run away with the message that you boycotted, but because when you boycott, Mr. Bia is going to come up with a figure. you will be shocked by what that figure is. We have to provide a different figure to the international community because our people have done what they need to do.
Thank you. I will go back to the question that I asked, and I will direct this to Dr. Emma, if you can attempt it. We have a situation where our people are currently, as we speak, they are being slaughtered in secret chambers in Boya, and of course, I believe in other towns, Manfe, Bamenda, Victoria, Kumba, perhaps Kumbo too. What can we do now? What can we do now? Dr. Emma.
That's a tough question. For those on the ground, and I will not pick up from where my brother Tumfoy left off. I rather re-echo one of the things that I believe Barrister So echoed in the previous segment, which is that to the extent that we can minimize the suffering, the killings, we should figure out how best to do so. The focus in the days ahead is how to send the message to the world that we have freely expressed our wishes, and that freely expressed wish began October 1st, 2017, when we reasserted in millions our determination to live free within the territorial boundaries that were accorded to us after decolonization, which unfortunately the new colonial master has never vacated. Anything that, unfortunately, Chris, that those of us who have privilege to live and enjoy safe harbors would ring somehow shallow. That is why, with a lot of caution and humility, we sit here to send messages to our brothers and sisters caught in La Republic's crossfires. But let me say this, as I was coming into this program, I happened to listen to this. I believe most Cameroonian, most La Republicans and Ambazonians will relate to this. Flavor sings, Lord, you are the most high, hallowed thy name. Why am I singing when times are this challenging? You would recall, my brothers and sisters, there is hope even in the darkest of time. No one could have taught and told the Rohingya Muslims, 1 million of them, that this day, yesterday, February 4th, the ICC would have appointed a prosecutor who is given the right now to open full and unfettered investigation into the atrocity crimes meted against the Rohingya Muslims. So for the cries that are coming in what is tantamount to Bias Auschwitz in our territory, there will be a day that Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, Chris, and my brothers and sisters who hear my voice out there, who will be singing as Flavor does, Lord, you are the Most High. For right now, we can only tell them that the only way to get the international community to come to our aid is to make sure we do not normalize the situation that we are currently facing. Who in their right minds can grasp what's going on and still vote? Let me be brief. The lady called Mrs. Rose Mba somebody, minister of something or the other in La Republique, an enabler, and her co-conspirators don their akabas underneath with bulletproof vests. They are surrounded by armored vehicles and an entire legion of armed military La Republique killers. They are deployed to go to their villages that they have lost all legitimacy to say they represent. And they go there to show their paymaster that they can have a rally for the ruling party. Now, Southern Cameroonian Ambazonians need to ask themselves, what has these people done for us except to put our brothers and sisters in what is now tantamount to torture and killing chambers? Why would a young man going around his business be arrested simply for no reason other than to intimidate and stoke fears and force people to cast a ballot? Meanwhile, they have freely expressed the need for them to live free. So I believe that those who are listening to this show have to simply look at the lay of the land. How does somebody come surrounded by military, is protected to the kilt, in the midst of your own brothers and sisters, homes being burnt, being displaced, summarily arrested, abducted in mass numbers, deported, and for no other reason, and they ask you to come out and vote? I say these elections again is a ploy, and your vote is a one-way ticket to your own annihilation, your own destruction. So do not legitimize that which has no concern for you. Do not give legitimacy to that which does not further your own right to self-determination. So, Chris, there is no good answer for those facing the barrel of the gun. I advocate for safety, but I advocate strongly here that we shall not and should not legitimize what's going on. The world, again, my brothers and sisters, in case you don't remember and you did not tune in, on December 6th, the United Nations Security Council met, and resoundingly, one after the other, if time permits, we can go down the list of countries: Germany, Indonesia, the Federation, the Russian Federation, the United States, England, each one of the UNC member, permanent and temporary members, stated, Mr. President Biya of the Republic of Cameroon, you will not win this war militarily. We are encouraging you to put down your arms and join the Swiss-led process without precondition for a negotiated settlement. On December 12th, the United States congressman sent a similar letter telling Biya they know the majority of the crimes, which are now atrocity crimes of genocide, are caused by his military. They say, right, Mr. Biya, do go to the Swiss peace process to end this war. We must not realize what's going on and forever give up the one chance we have for a peaceful Southern Cameroon and Amazonia.
All right, let me get to Barrister Ghana there. Do you have any suggestion as to what can be done with the recent spate of arrests, the detentions, the torture that we are hearing in all of Amazonia?
Thank you, Secretary Chris. There are a number of things that we can do. Some of the things that we can do include continuing to supply war bodies, war institutions with information regarding the genocide that is going on in Amazonia by the Republic of Cameroon, aided by France. We can also begin to solicit information from people in Cameroon and people in Amazonia on the individuals who are who are in the upper hierarchy responsible for this genocidal crime. I'm just going to take a few minutes to go through some of these names of people, officers of La République who are responsible for the genocide that is happening. Of course, Paul Biya. Of course, Betty Asomo, who is the Minister of Defense. Claude Mecca, who is the chief of staff. Galaxy Etoga, who is the colonel controlling the set, under who a lot of Ambazonians have gotten killed and tortured. Mbaga Ngwele, who is delegate general for national security. There is Etoga Galax Vest, who is the secretary of state for defense in charge of the gendarmerie. There is Kavaye Jibril, who is the speaker of parliament and aiding this genocide that is going on. There is Famen Dongo Jacques, who is the minister of higher education. There is Avondo Ayolo Samuel, who is the director of the civil cabinet at the presidency. There is, of course, Paul Nji Atanga, who is the minister of territorial administration. There is Laurent Esso. There is Rene Sadi Emmanuel, who is the minister of communication. There is Owona Gregoire, who is the minister of labor and social security and a direct participant in aiding this genocide. There is Colonel Didier Bajek, who is the former head of the communication of security. There is also Emile Bankwi, who is director of a security agency in Cameroon. There is Okala Biliar, who is the governor of the Southwest, their name for the southern zone in Ambazonia. There is Lele Afrique, who is the colonial governor of the northern zone. We have these names. We need people in Cameroon to keep supplying information to us regarding what is happening so that we can keep documenting what is happening. I'm going to provide an email address that I created, and I've been soliciting information for what has been happening. The email address is servantofambazonia@gmail.com. If you have any direct information that strengthens the case against these individuals, whether it's General Agar Robinson, whether they are the colonials who are responsible for the specific zones in the northern zone and the southern zone in Ambazonia, send that information to the IG. Send that information again to the email servantofambazonia@gmail.com. We will have to work to prosecute these people both at the ICC, and will prosecute them right here in the United States in federal courts, so that we exact a punishment not just on them but on their estates. But we should also continue, as I said, to communicate this information to the congressmen in our districts, to the senators in our areas, in whichever state we belong to. So there is a lot in our power that we can do to continue to document, expose, and look forward to prosecuting these individuals. Also, Ambazonians, if you are listening, dig into your pocket and support the restoration forces. Self-defense is a universal right. Support the forces on the ground, because these are the people who are trying to exact defense against these forces that are murdering our people, that are committing genocide on our population, that have killed over 15,000 Ambazonians. And if you add those who have died as a result of this conflict, we are talking about over 20,000 Ambazonians that have died. These are forces that have burned down over 300 villages, that have raped men, women, children, cousins, grandmothers, that have burned people alive. These are your relatives that are getting killed. Deep into your pockets, whether it's through your LGA or through Morris or whichever organization that you support, deep into your pocket and support the forces on the ground who are providing a measure of defense for our people.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I am just speechless as, I'm kind of helpless as to what can be done right now, given the situation. Barrister John, let me come to you. I see you raising your finger there. What do you have to add here, please?
Yes, sir. We are at war, and we have a right to self-defense. Our restoration forces, I want to propose a little bit more work for them. We cannot allow the Republic forces to be picking up our children, our young men, our men of fighting age, and going and executing them. We should protect them. The restoration forces, especially the special forces that have just been trained, should go to work and make sure that they blow down those buildings that house those La Republic torture chambers. Like that building behind the synod office, that building should be attacked because we cannot allow it to continue. Our young people are being slaughtered in that building.
Barrister John, I agree with you 100%,
I
but you
subscribe
also
100%.
understand. I
Yes,
agree
I
with you
subscribe.
100%, but you also understand the difficulties of those restoration forces getting to
I
those
do.
structures.
I do, Chris. I do. But I'm
Okay,
saying that it has become a do or die situation.
right.
I also want to add on that list that my learned colleague has just said, Aga Robinson, and an Ambazonian is number 2 or 3 or 4 on that list, my dear brother. Make sure you add him. Now, what I'm saying is that the restoration forces, so far, they are doing very well, but they should not allow those people to be picking up our people the way they have done in the last few days. From Sunday up to today, it's too much. I think they should respond with firepower because we are at war. We cannot allow them to pick up our citizens, our civilians, especially young people of fighting age, and go and eliminate them. I think that the restoration forces should step up a little bit, especially the special forces. We can do, even if we cannot do all, we can set an example somewhere, Chris. We can set an example somewhere that this thing should stop.
Well, let's see what happens in the coming days. Comrade Ball, you have something to add there before we move to the next subject, please.
Yeah, let me just come in here. Just one little thing. If you hear that there are bad people out there and they're chasing after your child, and your child runs back home, and you know that those people have a history of chasing the child back into the house and burning them alive, or pulling them out of the house and killing them, you don't provide the strategy for the child to run back into the house and barricade themselves in the house. You tell the child that the more of you can prevent movement from those people, the more likely your chances are to survive. If you are a young person in Ambazonia right now, and you are not a volunteer self-defender, you are failing yourself, and you're failing your revolution, and you're failing your land, and you're opening up yourself for easy pick. All young people in Ambazonia should be part of this voluntary self-defenders of our people. And it is in numbers that you defend and defeat a ruthless military dictatorship. That is how it has been done everywhere. In the Philippines, it was thousands of people out in the street preventing the tyranny from continuing. In Sudan, it was thousands of people out in the streets. You have to overwhelm the military, and you have to prevent them from knowing that they will have any supply or backup. In every one of our villages, they have a few soldiers or a few gendarmes or a few policemen. If they will not have any backup or supplies coming from the main towns, they will behave themselves. If you give them a license by tying your hands in your back and saying, I'm going out to fight them because I sit at home, I'm going to be peaceful, then they're going to leave me alone, they will not. This is our time to stand up to this regime. This is the moment for the people of Ambazonia to reaffirm to the world that they are angry enough and willing enough to continue the march to Boya. It is not the time to say we have faced down the barrel of the gun and now we must retreat. Because if you do, you are damned. If you don't move forward, you will be damned. This is not it's not a position that I'm taking recklessly. It is not a position that I'm saying let a maximum number of people be killed, but we will save the greater number by being aggressive, by being defensive, by being in position to prevent them from providing the supplies that they need. And to the question that you asked, Brother Chris, with respect to what should we do, I totally applaud the points that have been made by the learned barristers that we must continue the action that we are taking with the international community. My sister Emma put in that point as well. We must continue that process with the international community. But remember what message Mr. Biya is sending to the international community. Mr. Biya is sending a message to the international community that our restoration forces are holding people at gunpoint and preventing them from voting. You have to factor in how you reverse that communication that Mr. Biya is sending out to the world. This is not this is not a situation where we can cede ground to Mr. Biya, and we will be ceding ground if we allow his troops to have free movement, and if we allow his troops to have backup and supplies. We have to shut it down, and every person in Ambazonia, you are targeted. You are personally being targeted for elimination. We have to realize it, and we have to sit up and fight before it is 1 million people killed, as in Rwanda.
I think that is a point. I think that is a point. Every Ambazonian has to stand up. If at this moment, seeing what we are seeing, Ambazonians do not rise up, then this thing may well be over. Barrister Valentine, I see your hand up. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, 2 points that I just want to make to that effect. First, I want to appeal to Ambazonians who are in the diaspora, whether you are in Chicago, whether you are in Houston, whether you are in Bonn, whether you are in Frankfurt, whether you are in Cape Town, whether you are in Bangalore. You can organize a few people in your city to raise funds to support the defense effort. Sometimes when you help individually, it is not as potent as if you, within the Ambazonian organizations that you have in the city, do like monthly fundraisers, or when there is a heightened event going on, raise funds for Ngoke Tunja, raise funds for Lebialem, raise funds for Mezam. Participate jointly to raise funds and aid the defense efforts that are going on. This is something that I've tried personally in some local areas, and it's come to some good success. The other thing that I want to suggest to the individuals in the IG in charge of the defense of the homeland is that they need to look for the possibility of building what I call military alert systems. For example, if you go to a place like Baba, you can have 2 people whose jobs are just to observe and report, so that when we have these Beti Bulu death squads that are roaming our lands, some of them who are dressing as Ambazonian fighters and riding on bikes, but their job is to go into a locality and kill. If these self-defense units, some of them that are just meant to observe and alert the restoration forces out there, would then be able to have the restoration forces respond in time, because in a lot of things we do, communication is very essential. They will be able to respond in time and exact a price on these Beti Bulu death squads, which would become a disincentive for them to go into localities and kill our people and slaughter our people as they have been doing. So this is just a suggestion to the Defense Department under the interim government.
All right, thank you. Please, if we can shorten our answers, make it maximum of a minute, that would be great, so that we can quickly get over to the other subject. But I have this question coming from a listener on Ground Zero, and he writes, why would you not meet and discuss our sad situation with the international community if they can prevent these tortures and genocide, instead of relying on us to defend ourselves with bare hands? Please, where is the diplomacy we think you are doing? Anybody want to attempt this? Please, 1 minute.
Yes, let me attempt that.
Okay, Barrister John, go on, please.
Yes, Chris, let our compatriot know that the interim government is working tirelessly, diplomatically, and that the international community is aware of what is happening. And I don't know what is happening, for international community to come in, but I know that at some point they will have to come in because it cannot continue. It cannot continue. Let our friend, our brother who has raised that question know that diplomacy is at work. We are not sleeping. Nobody is sleeping. The interim government is not sleeping either. The foreign affairs department is working. The presidency is working. Even the communication where we are now is working, and the international community is well aware. But we cannot force them to come. We have to do the defending ourselves while waiting for them. That is the only short answer I have for our dear brother.
All right, Comrade Valentine, I see your hand up. Please, quickly.
Yeah, yes, just to reinforce that message that Barrister Frunso communicated, we in the diaspora are robustly engaged in diplomacy on so many levels, and I'm personally aware of efforts that the interim government is doing. I am also aware of a lot of efforts that have been made by some other groups that are working covertly. For example, when I think about 2 months ago, you saw a request from the U.S. State Department and some congressional and senatorial members writing to the U.S. representative at the UN asking for a fact-finding mission to be sent to Cameroon. This was as a result of robust diplomacy that the interim government engaged in, as well as some organizations working covertly that I was privy to and that I work with, to liaison with over 50 senators across the United States and dozens of congressmen to brief them on the situation, which led to that action of requesting the U.S. representative at the UN to request a fact-finding mission to be sent to Cameroon. So as Barrister said, diplomacy is going on robustly on the ground, and there are even events taking place over the next 2 weeks that I'm personally involved in, but that I don't want to disclose publicly right now.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's put a hold on this for a moment. Let us shift topic to the subject of Maurice Kamto's rally coming up in Washington, D.C., I guess this weekend. Now, this is what I found out. This is what I found out, and I saw this on the social media. Somebody is writing this. It actually came from the, I think, posted by Patrice in Ghana. Now, this is what I read or I saw. He says, Kamto is coming to DC this Sunday, February the 9th, for a photo op. Now, this story is tactically written to want to war Ambazonians into that event as though Kamto is coming there to talk against Ambazonians. So the idea is Ambazonians should fill the place so they can stop Kamto from saying anything negative against Ambazonia. But that's not the case. That's not the intention of this message. The intention of this message is to have as many Ambazonians in that place as possible, so Kamto can go out and say he is the only one. He is the only one who can resolve the conflict. And I mean, by virtue of the number of Anglophones showing up, Anglophones as they call it, showing up in his rally. Now, this is what the letter says. It says the town hall is meeting to discuss the problems in southern Cameroon. The event is being organized in secret. In secret. Of course, there's nothing in secret. We all know it is not a secret. He said, even as he tells journalists the solution to our problem is federalism. The event will be this Sunday, February 9, blah, blah, blah. And they put the details. They want people to know where it is. They want people to go there. They want Ambazonians to go there. I don't need to read the whole thing, but ladies and gentlemen, let me start with Dr. Osong. What would you be advising Ambazonians in the DC area? You live in the DC area. What would you be saying to Ambazonians, advising them in the DC metro about this event?
Interesting. Let me say something because I may miss the opportunity to do this about
Okay.
what is being done diplomatically very quickly. As Barrister Ghana just mentioned, we have to recognize and trust that for the most part, diplomacy is private. It's something sometimes done informally, behind the scenes, quietly. That's how you sow the seeds, and then when things occur, it does occur. So let's not despair when we don't take all the diplomatic businesses to the marketplace. Let's remember that you press the flesh sometimes very privately so as to get some things going. I just want to put that out there because not everything diplomatically must be done in the global market space for everybody to be aware.
Right. So
Now,
going to the question, what would you be saying to
of
Ambazonians
capital,
out there in the DC area?
I would love, Secretary Chris, I would love to have a President Camto as president of La République du Cameroon, because I think he will be a great president for the 15 million La Républicans in La République du Cameroon. He is a better alternative for them. That is what I would tell Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, that we have a fight to fight. And Camto is obviously not playing on our side of the game. Mr. Camto is not certainly interested in the Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians. What I understand is now that he himself has boycotted the elections, he would like to make the world understand that the reason he doesn't want to participate in an election that he would have never won under La République is on account of the suffering, death, and destruction that his own government meted on us. And so we must join him somehow to fight this war. So while I would tell people who are pragmatic as we are, that staying engaged is important, but these are not the types of engagement for us to take on and again legitimize why we must be under a one and indivisible Cameroon. If up until now you are not clear on the fact that we are not one and indivisible, then I invite all of you to go out and listen to the ever-evolving position of Mr. Camto,
All right.
which now has evolved from special status to some form of five region federation. But if you believe in your hearts of hearts, Southern Cameroonians, that we have freely expressed a wish under what is internationally guaranteed for us and given to us during our own decolonization process, that we have territorial integrity, Mr. Camto's campaign around the world for his presidency in La République du Cameroon should not be of any concern to us. We would love friendly relationships with a President Camto in La République, but let's stay engaged. Let's not relent despite our divisions, Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians. If we are not focused, remember, if you don't know where you are going, every road will take you there. We know where we are going. The world is behind us. Let's concentrate and get to where we are not second class. We are not always being given something, special status, no so. What else would they call you next? No nothing?
All right. Thank you. Toonfoin, what would you be advising Ambazonians out there in the metro, DC metro area about this Camto meeting?
I'll say just one thing very quickly, because I think our people on the ground, when they ask these questions, they are owed an answer. I have never been on a diplomatic outing to the Congress of the United States, to State Department alone. And everybody who's been with me has been witness to the fact that top on our demand is to ask the United States government to provide us with the arms that we need to fight Mr. Biya's government. And I have justified it by the fact that they have provided it to other people. This is public. and our people should know it. We will continue to push for that because one day they will provide us with the arms with which we need to fight our people. And the court ruling in favor of Tapang Ivor against terrorism points to that, a right to self-determination, but a right that we will need to exercise if we have the guns to do so. With respect to Mr. Maurice Kamto, Mr. Maurice Kamto is a very dangerous agent. I was among those who were privately approached to meet him in private and in secret. And I turned it down and I told them that we will not meet with him because I will not meet with the president of Afghanistan. He is just the president or potential president of another country. We are not supposed to go to every president, whatever event that they are holding. But Mr. Maurice Kamto is very dangerous for a number of reasons that I want to point out very quickly to Ambazonians. He is the author of that 1996 constitution by which you are enslaved. He has been a deputy minister of what they call justice, which is in fact injustice. And they put in place the laws by which you are being massacred today. Mr. Kamto has been caught in his own trap. He finds himself in a situation where he is unable to unseat a tyrant under a system that they build the legal foundation for. And Mr. Kamto should sweat all alone in his situation. Mr. Kamto is also dangerous for another reason. Mr. Kamto was part of the team that pleaded the case in favor of La République with respect to Bakassi. And Mr. Kamto could not have possibly made that case without linking the fact that Southern Cameroons owned Bakassi. And so Mr. Kamto knows the origins of this story. He is a brilliant scholar of law compared to Mr. Biya, who needed an additional year to finish his law degree. He is a brilliant man, so he knows what he is doing. And because of that, he is a very, very dangerous man. And Ambazonians should not approach him. Unfortunately, he is not alone. There are other mechanisms out there now, including a so-called dialogue and consultation and negotiation platform that is built by federalists, by unionists who are inviting Ambazonians to go to their thing, including an Africa forum that's inviting Ambazonians to go to their thing. Do not attend these things. This guy is trying to build legitimacy for himself. And I know because, you know, when I worked for Mr. Frundi, in the lead up to the 1992 presidential election, and I traveled with him around the world when he had to go around the world canvassing support after the election had been stolen. And we had proof that the election was stolen. Mr. Kamto doesn't have proof that his election was stolen. The point that we have proof was such that the world reacted with shutting down aid to Mr. Biya's government. The EU closed down their mission. The USAID closed down their mission. And we showed up in the United States the same way with plenty of legitimacy. But this is a film that Ambazonians have seen before. The world will go quiet on Mr. Kamto, and Mr. Kamto knows that he does not have the grassroots movement that he needed to run in local and legislative elections. So he's going around now trying to tell the French, I am the next in line, you should pick me. Well, they can pick him all they want. Ambazonians, focus on your revolution. Let the snake go by.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Barrister. And so please, briefly, let's round this topic up. I want to open the phones and take 1 or 2 or 3 questions before we call it a day. Barrister, and so please.
Yeah, very quickly, Chris. I know Kamto very well. I have met him. I met him in detention. I met him in the GSO and in the Kondenge prison. Now, listen to me very carefully. Some of us think that enablers, most of the enablers are on ground zero. We have a lot of enablers even right here with us. I live in the Maryland area, and I'm saying this is a warning. Some of us have taken upon ourselves. We will be monitoring anybody. We will know those who will go to meet Mr. Kamto. Like my dear comrade Bo Herbert has just said, is a very dangerous intellectual. Mr. Kamto is a very dangerous intellectual and he's our enemy. He has declared against us. You will be going to meet him on what basis? What will be the basis? So we in the Maryland, Virginia, Washington area, with the Ambazonians here, we are going to monitor everybody. If anybody is thinking about stepping foot in any hall or in anywhere to welcome Mr. Kamto, we will take note of that person, and that person is an enabler. Look, Chris, this Washington area is full of Amazonians.
Right.
And I will tell you that we control more than 80% of those who are here. But we still have some enablers. We will make sure this is the time for us to definitely separate between the Amazonians who are committed to this fight and the enablers right here among us. Mr. Campo is dangerous, and I'm telling my brothers and sisters in the Washington metropolis that nobody should go near those people. They are very dangerous people. They are our enemies. If you don't know your enemy, then you are doomed.
Barrister Valentine, do you have the same message for Amazonians in the DC area?
The message I have regarding the package that Camto is bringing is that like Barrister Fruso has said, and like Bohebet said, Camto plays the game of being like a cunning snake, because I'll ask myself a few questions here. He's somebody of jurisprudence, and the truth under the law is indivisible. You can tap dance around it, but it is indivisible. And Camto does not treat the truth as the truth. He kind of blurs the truth. So I have to ask myself, does Camto accept that the only legitimate thing that could have tied Ambazonia and La Republique is a union treaty? No, Camto has not articulated that. Does Camto accept the truth that we are two separate entities in international law? No, Camto has not articulated that. Has Camto articulated, despite the fact that over 15,000 people have either been executed, slaughtered in genocide, does Camto accept the truth that the illegal occupation of Ambazonia by the French Cameroon army supported by France is illegal? No, Camto has not accepted that. Camto knows there is a Swiss dialogue process that has been engaged by the international community. Has Camto endorsed that process as a means to resolving the conflict? No, Camto has not accepted that. But Camto is talking about some abbreviated status of the Southern Cameroons to what he calls gérer their affairs. So Camto is still buying the French line of trying to annex the Southern Cameroons by sweeping the truth under the carpet. So if you are going to go meet with Camto, you are not going to change what Camto has publicly articulated, what he believes, and were he ever to become the president of French Cameroon, from what he has said, he's going to continue the French inclination towards annexation of Ambazonia. So, hands off, if you ask me.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. For the record, let me state that on several occasions I have officially written to Camto's campaign or office asking for an interview for him to come on ABC and have a conversation with Amazonians, and again and again we are given promises. I have no idea whether Camto himself has received that message, but if his senior staff keep on giving us excuse upon excuse, and I assume they do not want Camto to come on ABC. I hope he does. I'm looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have discussed so much here, and I will open the phone lines. Let's take a few questions from those who are watching from Ground Zero. So Ground Zero, please. You have the phone number, the regular phone number. Go ahead and make your phone call. If you don't have the phone number, I guess the phone number should be on your screen right now. The phone number should be on your screen right now. Now, while we wait for the callers to call, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind Ground Zero there is so much going on, so much going on. What is happening should be a pointer to us that if we lost this war, what we see today is nothing compared to what is going to happen to us. If they can pick up and slaughter our people right before our own eyes, sending prisoners. I just read a few minutes ago that they send trucks of prisoners from Yaoundé to Bamenda and Boya. They have arrived Boya, they have arrived Yaoundé, they have arrived Bamenda. What they are planning to do is get these prisoners stand on a long queue on Sunday at the election station, nicely dressed and looking clean, and CRTV cameras will come around and take those footages, beam them across the world and tell the international community, see the way Ambazonians came out to vote? Look at Ambazonians. They are still with us. We should not be fooled. Please stay in your home. Let me take this first caller here. Hello, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. May I know where you're calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from DC, Delhi.
Okay, what is the question or the contribution, sir?
Yeah, my contribution is just to thank our panelists. I want to thank you, Secretary Chris, for the great job you are doing. And I want to tell our people that this is what we call collaboration. Because collaboration do not mean that collaboration means that at least you start by talking with people, you disagree with somebody's view and agree. I have seen how you people have disagree in the studio and agree on something. Boy is saying his own, another person is saying his own, but you guys are talking together. This is what our people want. I want to encourage you guys to continue with this line of thought so that we will move together to Boya. I want to thank them also that they have done a great job. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. Let me take the next caller from Ground Zero. That was a comment, so I don't need any response. Hello. Hello. I think this is a bad connection. Let me see who else is calling. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you turn down the volume of your set, please, and focus on your phone?
Hello?
Yes, please. I can hear you. Can you turn down the volume of your set and focus on the phone?
Yes, Secretary Chris.
All right. Where are you calling in from, sir?
I'm calling in from Canada.
All right. And what is the question or the contribution?
Okay, my contribution is I want to first of all start by thanking the panelists. It was a wonderful day and I really enjoyed their elaboration. So for the lockdown, it's clear that our people are ready already for the lockdown. But the thing that I really want to specify on is about Kamto. Kamto is a dangerous player. He does not sympathize with the Ambazonia, and Ambazonia should be very, very conscious that he was the one that orchestrated the issue of special statute. And now that they put it in, he is trying now to change and call some kind of federation that he himself is not willing to even explain the kind of thing that he wants for Ambazonia. So, for my opinion, Kamto can be worse than Pobia. They are the birds of same feather. So Ambazonia should stay away from Kamto. We have asked him two questions. Does Kamto consider Ambazonia as a people? If we are a people, do we deserve the right of self-determination under international law? I have seen him to be worse than Pobia. So Ambazonia should stay away from him.
All right.
So
all
that's
right.
my
Thank you for making the point. want to believe that was a comment. We won't waste time trying to add anything to it, but let's go on to more calls. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
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 I can hear you, sir. Go ahead. Go on. Where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from Arizona and I'm following the program. I would like to chip in one or two comments.
All right. You have 50 seconds. Go on, please.
Okay. Yes, I want to thank all the panelists, including Bohebet. I respect him. I respect Barrister Fru, and I respect the doctor. I respect Chris Anu, and I want to thank you that you're doing a very good job. Keep on what you're doing. We are all about behind you guys. And I just wish to say what is happening in Amazonia has been planned all along, including Kamto himself when he was working with the government. So Kamto, as we have all agreed, he is a dangerous player. We are all against him. We are not with him, and we will never be part of him because he has his own country he's fighting for. We have our own country we are fighting for. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being precise. All right. Let's get to the next caller. Hello, sir. Hello. I think this is a bad connection. All right. Let's get to the next caller, ground zero. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, sir. May I know where you're calling in from, please?
Yes, I'm calling from ground zero, Fako County, Ekona precisely.
That is wonderful. Some of these guys who were picked up in Ekona, am I correct?
Yes, you are very correct.
So what is going on there today?
Today we only had heavy gunshots and we were all hiding in the houses.
And the heavy gunshots were coming from Amber Restoration Forces or from a lot of public soldiers?
Till now, we have not known whether it was confrontation, but the gunshot we had was from the Restoration Forces.
Okay, good to know that. What contribution do you have, sir?
Yeah, I just want to. No, the gunshot was from the soldiers. So
Okay.
it was really heavy. So till now, we don't know whether it was confrontation.
All right. Thanks for that information. What is your contribution or question to the show?
Yeah, I just want to thank the panelists and then congratulate you people for the great job, especially Barrister John Fuso. We are missing him on ground zero.
Barrister John, you better go back. You don't belong here then.
Well, but no,
We are missing Barrister John
I'm not
Fuso
against
on
their
ground
life.
zero because he was informing us a lot when he was here. And Bo Habet, we are happy for you for the collaboration with Chris Anu and the other panelists. The lady is my first time of seeing her on ABC, so we'll welcome her.
Yes, go on, please.
Okay, we welcome the lady. I just forgot her name. So it's the first time I'm seeing her on Amma
Dr.
TV.
Emma Osong is the name.
Okay, Emma. Okay, Emma. Hi. We say welcome, but notwithstanding, a lot of things are going on here on ground zero. Everybody is in panic.
All right. Thanks for the call. You guys don't have to be in any panic. This will be over. All that lot of public is trying to do is intimidate all of you on ground zero. I bet you this isn't going to last any more than 1 week because this will be over really, really soon. Let me take the next caller. Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
Mr. Chris Anu?
Hello,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you 5 on 5. May I know where you're calling in from, please?
I'm calling from the United States.
Okay, and what is your question or contribution? You have 60 seconds, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chris Anu. I'm very happy to see you guys all together collaborating. And my question goes to Doomphone Boyhebber. I like the way he put things together. I want to ask him that the way you guys are sitting over there and talking, it looks like the collaboration is really good. I'm not talking about Camto right now. I'm trying to ask him that will he be the one to put Ayabacho like this together, and you guys talk together, and bring him on the panel one day, and you guys talk together as you are talking right now? Can he make it possible? Because I never hear him criticizing Cho Ayawa for what he is doing. But I want Doomphone Boyhebber to look after this matter himself, to bring Ayabacho in the panel and let's hear him talk. Can he be able to do that? That's my question.
Okay, thanks for the question. Thanks for the question. Doomphone, you have a homework to do. Can you answer this question first, please?
That is not a question. That's an order.
Thank you. That's an order. Okay. Yes.
But to the other point, I really do criticize everyone when I have a point to criticize. I think we should not criticize for criticism's sake. I think that we are going to a dangerous place if we think that everybody is an enabler, and if we don't recognize people who are so committed to this that they have become fearful even of their own shadow and of their own brothers. We will get to a point, and I hope that it is soon, not later, where all of us can come together. This matter is not about us dissolving our groups, and that is the point. Cho Ayaba should be able to run AGOV-C without a problem and the ADF without a problem, but we should still be able to speak together. We saw, some of us were too young to see it, but my parents told me how the John Gould Funchas and the Munas and the Endeles came into villages in the same Land Rover, stood on the podium in the marketplace and spoke against each other, and went back into the same Land Rover drinking a Shahalong and going back to Boya or wherever they were campaigning next. This we should be able to do. Our parents showed us with the Mamfe conference in 1959. We should be able to do this together. But I agree we should not do it with federalists and people who want union and who want us annexed. We should do it with people who are committed to Ambazonia. And yes, bro, I've heard your instructions.
Secretary Chris, this is Emma. Let me chime in here because I can't resist that question. Very quickly. Thank you, Kola, for that. Without collaboration, we are people who don't know where we are going because we can't say we want the same thing, yet we are running interferences and doing our own goals. In other words, always scoring in our own goalkeeper side. So let me also make a distinction that collaboration is about getting a critical mass that is solidly planted and working tirelessly towards the goal. There always will be stragglers. To the extent that they don't get us confused, it's fine. Lastly, there is nothing Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians will ever successfully accomplish absent this little ingredient called trust. It is the glue that binds. I want to appeal to all the frontline leaders to begin to inject a little bit of collaborative trust ingredients because it's the glue that binds us together. If everybody is suspicious of everybody, we might as well be in a jungle, and it's survival of the fittest. So great question, great task. Doomphone, you have your work cut out for you. And yes, you do criticize, but you go after substantive matters. And that's what, when you furnish iron, rub iron to iron, you only get better, sharper knives. So let's plan to stay engaged in constructive and a little bit of dose of trust. Because right now, we are doing own goals on the playing field. We need to reverse that trend.
All right, all right. Let me get to the next caller. Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. May we know where you're calling in from, please?
I'm calling from Luanda, Angola.
Oh, you're calling from Rwanda, Angola. How are you watching us?
Yeah.
Are you watching us on television or
ABC.
on ABC?
ABC.
On television
Yeah,
or on
channel.
your computer or phone?
No, satellite.
Satellite. That's beautiful to know. I think you're the
I'm
first caller
calling
from
from
Rwanda
Luanda,
ever.
Angola.
We've heard of
Can you?
Angola, Congo,
Yes.
Gabon, and so on. Thanks for calling. What is your question or your contribution, please?
No, I just want to congratulate the panelists and I wish you all the best. And we are just waiting for the lockdown from tomorrow up.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for the call.
And yeah, and we are connected. We are with you and we are trying to spread the message what is happening there in Ambazonia.
Thank you. Are you Ambazonian or Rwandan? Hello? Are you Ambazonian or Rwandan?
Hello, I can hear you now.
Are you Ambazonian or Rwandan?
Not actually, I'm from Angola. I'm Angolan. I've never been in Cameroon.
Oh,
No,
Angolan.
I'm Angolan.
Okay. You never been to Cameroon. Okay. All right. Thanks for the call. I appreciate your support.
Yeah. I expect when you have your independence, I'll visit you there. I'm expecting that.
All right. And when you get there, make sure you look for me.
Okay, I'll do so, Secretary Chris.
Thank you, sir.
I'll do so.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have just 9 minutes to call it a day. Let's take a few more calls, please. Hello. Can you turn down the volume of your set and just stay and focus on the phone, please?
I'm completely off my set.
All right, I can hear you clearly now. Go ahead. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Michigan. Chris, I just want to plead with your panel, and every time that you guys come online, whether it's SCBC, the site Ambazonia Genocide Library, please tell your panelists, everybody to use that site. There's an article there now about General Aga, which needs to go to every senator, to every congressman. Before calling you, I just got information that a young man, a bike rider, was killed at my Fonquen for mistakenly driving past while La Republic was hoisting the flag. Can you imagine? His name is Funui Anted. You can just imagine just how much our lives are worthless as British Cameroonians. Please tell your panelists, everybody, go to Ambazonia Genocide Library. There's something for you to tweet to any congressman, to anybody around the world. That site is for all Ambazonians. Thank you very much, and I want to thank Mr. Bo Herbert. I follow him on Twitter. I just retweeted what he's just tweeted about the fake or CPDM guys trying to claim that, oh, we're stopping people from voting. So I appreciate you. I appreciate all Ambazonians. Use that site to the maximum. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. You do a great work on that site. I think it will be, at the end of the day, a great resource website for Ambazonia. The website again is ambazoniagenocidellibrary.com. ambazoniagenocidellibrary.com. That is the name of the website. Let me get to ground zero. Hello. Hello. This is a BAT network. Let's get to the next caller, Steve from ground zero. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am. May I know where you're calling in from? I can hear you. Go on, please.
Yes, Chris. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Where are you calling in from? What zone? What county?
I'm calling from Ground Zero, Moyoka County.
Okay. And what is your contribution or question?
Boycott County.
Thanks for calling. What is your question or contribution? 1 minute. Can you hear me? Well, that's a bad network there. Get the next caller, Ground Zeroes. T. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Yes, good evening, sir. May I know where you're calling in from? Again, it's a bad network. Take this last call. I hope it works. Hello. Hello. It's a bad network. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we will call it a day. Hello. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, we will call it a day here. I want to say a big thank you to Tom von Bohebert, Dr. Emma, Barrister Valentine for coming on board. Please, I will give you just 10 seconds if you have something else to pass across before we go. I will start with Barrister Valentine.
I just want to say, just like the foundation of the individuals in a family are the strength of the family, the foundation of this revolution is the faith which we as Ambazonians have in the revolution. Despite the tribulations that we are going through, let's not lose faith. Again, wherever you are, whether you are in Europe, Africa, North America, wherever, support the revolution. Find a way to dip into your pockets and support the revolution, because it is through the strength of our collective contributions that will take us through the finish line. Support the revolution financially and otherwise.
Thank you. Barrister, so over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Before I very quickly, I like to give this invitation to my comrade Bo Herbert, that will meet and I'll share with you my study on Ayabacho, who happens to be from my village, whom I know very well from childhood, and I know everything that is happening. And I think that I have done a detailed study about it. I want to share with you, Bo, before you carry on your assignment that you have just received. I want to support what my dear colleague, Barrister Ghana, has just said about funding the revolution. We must continue to fund this revolution, otherwise we are finished. This is our life wire. We have no choice but to fund. Dip your hands in your pocket, knowing that it is your life is dependent on this revolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Emma, please.
Very quickly, Chris, I want to end by thanking all of those who have tuned in to listen, and also reinforce the fact that I know in my heart of hearts that Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians are peaceful, they are pragmatic, and they're principled. And on that basis, they know very well that there is no dignity in living as a second class, the French word. There is no dignity in always being handed something after you've been beaten down to a pulp. So I want to say that yes, we will give another resounding referendum that we have freely expressed our wishes to live free in our own territory. And I want to also end by saying, please do not relent. It's easy to play the game when you're outside, but we know our valiant brothers and sisters are doing all they can to defend the homeland. And that despite the divisions this past year, especially this past few months, please do not turn your guns on each other. Find a way to collaborate and talk through the problems. We have a common enemy, and that is to take the murderous forces of La Republique and put them across the Mungo. And again, every time I have a chance, I want to remind our brothers and sisters that the world is solidly behind us and has put their faith behind the peace initiative under the auspices of the government of Switzerland. And it is for us to push, to shame the world to bring La Republique to the table. We Ambazonians are on the table. We need all of our brothers to collaborate so the coalition of the willing can negotiate a permanent, lasting peace in the Gulf of Mexico. I thank you all again for allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Emma Ntumfoy. You have the last word.
Thank you, and I think my sister meant the Gulf of Guinea a moment ago because she ended up with the Gulf of Mexico.
The Gulf of Guinea. Did I say Mexico?
Yeah.
Yes,
Which is
the Gulf of
Mexico, I guess.
But great. So my message to you, my last one will be, yes, fund the revolution. If you live abroad, consider yourself Joseph in Egypt. It's time for your family back at home for you to support them and to become that Joseph for your people. Number two, build a barricade. It doesn't matter how small you are, erect a barricade. Stand guard over your restoration forces. They have been there for you. Make sure that you don't open up the way for them to be slaughtered. Do not give up a brother, no matter in which camp he fights. Do not turn your arms towards them. Do not accommodate the enablers and those who want us to continue to live under annexation. And do not give the international community, for those of you who live abroad, any rest at all. They must continue to hear from the people of Ambazonia, and they must continue to hear that we reaffirm our independence and that we do not intend to go anywhere. Do not go to the parties organized by those who are hoping to become the next Biya, like the Kamtos, because Mr. Biya has the credit of having even accepted that he was doing assimilation. Kamto has not even gone there. So my people, we are on our own. The world is in our support. It is time for us to show them that where we are going is a place where our people are doing it voluntarily. So cast a stone, communicate that result to the world. And if you need to cast the stone on La Republique soldiers to get them out of our land, please do. Arm yourself. Self-defense is a right. Don't let them fool you around. And just to say something about my brother Cho, he calls me a brother. I call him a brother. He visits with me at home when he comes here. I will do if I go to Norway, but I will take my assignment seriously. I think, I've got the difficult job here. But I thank the panelists and I thank everybody on Ground Zero who are hunkering down right now and are going to do a great job with La Republique, against La Republique. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate you coming on board. It's been a long time, over 2 hours, I think about 2.5 hours right now, but we had a wonderful audience, especially on the social media. They kept on watching and listening. I want to say, just as Ntumfoy has said, ladies and gentlemen, Ambazonians, we need you to show your support for this war. Please, wherever you come from. Barrister Ghana also mentioned something, and I have seen him done it. He goes out, use his own initiative to raise funds for our restoration fighters. You don't have to wait until your county or your LGA calls for a fundraiser before you think of doing something for those restoration fighters. Please, let us all take our own initiatives, reach out there, and you can raise $500. It's a lot of money on Ground Zero. $2,000. It's a lot of money on Ground Zero. I know a lady in Atlanta who created a GoFundMe account just to raise money to send to Ground Zero. We can all do that. We don't have to wait until the interim government launches a fundraiser campaign, or until your county or LGA or maybe a frontline movement launches a fundraiser campaign. This is the moment we have to take up this responsibility at the individual level. We really appreciate that. This thing is about us. We will have our action would have to determine whether we are free or not. Our own action. The international community is not going to free us, ladies and gentlemen. They will not free us. We will have to free ourselves. All they need to do is recognize our resolve, and our resolve is manifested in these fundraisers, in lockdowns, and an election like this one. Again, thank you so very much for tuning in. It was a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, my panel, for being here. I look forward to being back here possibly on Saturday, by God's grace and His grace only. Good night.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now.